This is the Real Pod Newscast with Levon Putney with a quick check on what's going on. So here's my man to get into it.
Happy Tuesday. Thanks for listening. And glad to say it looks like I'm finally about to get back on air soon. I'll wait until the paperwork is signed before I give any specifics on the radio station or stations. So maybe by Friday's cast, I'll spill the beans. But yeah, it'll be great. Rejoining the iHeart family, I can't say that, whom I worked for at WTAM in Cleveland when it was Clear Channel. But yeah, paychecks again to pay the bills, and Real Pod, that'll keep on keeping on. Hey man, I'm having too much fun with this, so I'll just have to figure out how to cram it all in, but I will.
My favorite stories of the day.
We all have reasons for the things we do. Those reasons may not help avoid trouble, like a traffic ticket, but yeah, if caught lead-footing the gas at 107 miles per hour on a highway with a 55-mile-an-hour limit, well, the driver can give the officer an excuse as to why they were going that fast or not. Even if the cop asks, we do not have to say anything. We do have the right to remain silent. And if we give up that right, anything said can and will be used against us in the court of law, So, a Pinellas County Sheriff's deputy in Florida took note 2 Thursday nights ago when WFLA News Channel 8 is reporting a 21-year-old woman told the deputy that she was going 107 in a 55 right before midnight. Not because she's Cinderella, but because
Pizza.
She was trying to get to a Little Caesars pizza shop before it closed. The traffic stop did not help that cause. Dangerous excessive speeding. That's a charge in Florida that can land someone in jail even, which is why this 21-year-old has a mugshot and had to post bond to get out. Now, this next one's also in Florida, and Lee County Sheriff's deputies say when they answered a stolen SUV call and went to a construction site where the SUV was found parked, all they know is when they pulled up, some guy popped out of a porta potty with no pants on, grabbed 2 wooden stakes to wave around, and ran off. Deputies never mentioned vampires, nor did they ever make sense of why this guy bolted from this porta potty dressed like Winnie the Pooh before running off with 2 wooden stakes in his hands, but they caught him. Tampa NBC affiliate Gulf Coast News is reporting deputies used a taser on the pantless man and say investigators think the 43-year-old was hiding in the porta potty because before they were called about this stolen SUV, a construction worker says he saw this dude walk from a local beach onto this private property, so the worker told him to leave, and the guy did that by taking the worker's SUV. That was unlocked with the keys inside, crashing through the gate to drive off. But then at the end of the road on this Sanibel Island that they were on, he stopped. Maybe to go in the porta potty where cops say he left his pants, booked into jail on several charges after that taser stopped him. And some of us may have seen or heard of this new documentary called Hitler's DNA, Blueprint of a Dictator. Well, CBS News was reporting it was supposed to air this past Saturday. Now, for those of us who have not seen or heard of this, a research team of scientists tested Hitler's DNA in their work with historians and found Hitler, for one, did not have Jewish relatives in his lineage, but did likely have a rare genetic condition called Kallmann syndrome, which can disrupt puberty, leaving boys with testicles that never drop, and a micropenis. They're asserting Adolf Hitler had a teeny weenie, which, by the way, the Cleveland Clinic defines as a stretched penile length, SPL, a scientist's way of saying a hard penis that is 3.67 inches or less. Micropenis. Now, an average adult male's SPL is 5.25 inches, by the way. Their measurements. Hey, again, the more you know. Back in a moment, but before we get to grabbing rulers during the break, the Jams Podcast.
Blazing the best hip-hop, R&B, reggae, soca.
You can get the Jams Podcast mix on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, and Deezer. Download the podcast for free.
It's Jams Hour Mix with Greg H.
Time for a peaceful moment.
Oh, Hey, what happened, sweetie? What happened?
Thank you for joining in this moment.
Your finger is frying with the fish.
Brought to you by the ASMR Network, where every sound is a turn on.
Oh, who's gonna finish cooking?
And now for the world around us.
The former Spanish Soccer Federation boss, who was convicted of sexual assault earlier this year for kissing that Spanish player after the 2023 Women's World Cup final, wrote a 500-page book called Matar a Rubiales, or Killing Rubiales, which gives his point of view on seeing his career crash over not keeping his lips to himself. And last Thursday, Luis Rubiales was on stage presenting his memoir at an event in Madrid when the Associated Press is reporting a guy later identified as an actor named Luis Ruben Rubiales started throwing eggs at him. 3 of them. One hit Rubiales on the back of his jacket while he was spinning around and trying to avoid him. And yeah, a lot of Rubiales is in this story because police say the one throwing the eggs was his uncle. The uncle of the ex-Soccer Federation head. His own uncle egged him. The AP, Guardian, they all had the video showing Rubiales then jump off stage to go after Unc as several men grabbed the uncle and led him away. Now, it just came out in Russia a few weeks ago that a guy is now facing up to 2 years in prison for filing a false report back in April. He's under a travel ban until he's sentenced, since Vice News is reporting the court system in Russia is not playing around with this guy, who investigators say called police in Krasnoyarsk to report his Toyota Corolla stolen. So they opened a case, but then his wife called hours later to say the car turned up on a small island in the middle of the Yenisei River nearby. Cops went, checked, and said the ignition was broken. It looked like somebody forced their way in, but there was something about the husband's story changing about the carjacking every time they talked to him, and the evidence was not matching what he was saying, which is because cops say he was lying. Vice News is only saying police came to the conclusion he staged the car theft, so not saying if the man came clean himself, but is saying he did it to avoid going shopping with his wife. This Russian dude might get up to 2 years in prison just to show how much men hate going shopping with women. Now, last Wednesday, the Argus news site out of the UK ran a story on how ferry company DFDS put out a public apology over kids that came running out of a ferry boat's lounge area screaming back on Sunday, October 26th. It was around 4 p.m. that day. The ferry was headed from France to Sussex, UK, when the company's statement said the boat's lounge television had just finished showing the F1 Grand Prix, and somebody either changed the channel or the TV switched itself. But when those kids came out running out of the lounge screaming, before going in the room, adults have ears. They were outside and they already knew. The Argus' story on this said one passenger even told them they heard the moans and groans and all the other sounds from hardcore porn that was on the screen. Went in there and yep, some boat worker was rushing to cut off that TV. DFDS described it as a technical issue, which actually led to that ferry turning around and going back to France because of this. They said a lot of those people did not get back to the UK until a day later. Blame porn. The company did say somebody finally thought now to remove the porn channel from the TV options, and say they reached out to passengers about compensation. But how do you put a price tag on parents having to explain what that woman was doing to that man in the video? No, sweetie, she was just bobbing her head to the music. Now, we are at this point where artificial intelligence is fairly new, so folks are not yet smooth at fooling people into believing they're reading a person's writing when it's really AI. And so we keep getting these comical examples of laziness. And in this case, online news site The Straits Times is reporting Pakistani English language newspaper The Dawn ran an article in its business section last Wednesday about car sales. And it was a standard-looking story until the last paragraph read, "If you want, I can even create a snappier front-page style version," and went on describing this alternative and ended by asking, "Do you want me to do that next?" Which is the common thing an AI app will do after giving a first answer. Editors at Pakistan's Dawn newspaper wrote an apology. We'll assume they did write the apology, saying the story was edited with AI against the paper's AI policy. Back in a moment with AI bringing dead people back to life.
Sniffing complaint and shove it up your...
A sweet scent. Leg & Hammer Toe's newest best-smelling laundry detergent ever.
Just keep your nose away from mine.
Available in stores nowhere.
Frank McAllister was an average guy working an average job, walking down an average street in his average town when he was hit by a runaway Ferris wheel. The expenses were staggering, but Frank didn't have to worry because he had the Medical Express card. When you've got the Medical Express card, you don't need to worry about a thing when it comes to healthcare costs. It's all taken care of. If you're crossing the street and you get hit by a speeding pickle truck,
You're covered.
What's up with what's going down, though?
Yeah, because anyone who has seen the Prime show Upload or Netflix's The Black Mirror, used to love both of them, but if you've seen either, you should already be predisposed to thinking it is a bad idea to try and talk with loved ones after they die. But there is a Los Angeles-based AI company called Two-Way, number 2, WAI, just started up with this plan last Tuesday the 11th to let users create what they call a holo avatar. It looks and talks like the user, even shares memories, and a promotional video shows a young woman on her smartphone talking with an avatar on the phone of her late mother or grandmother, really couldn't tell, but either way, the mother or grandmother's giving her advice. The company claims 3 minutes of video can last forever in our minds. But is that what we want in our minds forever? I mean, video of a dead loved one talking to us like they're in the present? I mean, some might. The promo video on X has over 1 million views, but, these might be some who either have not watched Upload, The Black Mirror, Megan, or any of these cautionary tales, or they have, and they know the app or bot could one day go haywire, but...
I see dead people.
Yeah, some of us may just want that sixth sense. Two-Way is free on the Apple App Store, Android version coming soon.
Tell vision, baby. 'Cause we don't like what we see. Ever seen a one-eyed woman cry?
Can you believe he got away with saying all that? Slammy Sammy with a...
And that's it for another Real Pod newscast. Thanks as always for listening and for making it to the end. I know I'm always starting and stopping the podcast I listen to, so whenever you get to this part, I'm glad you did. Song credits posted on the show's Facebook page, show clips posted on the socials. Have a great rest of the week. Back on Friday.
This has been the Real Pod Newscast with Levon Putney from Show Enough Productions. And for more, hit up the website, realpodnewscast.com. That's real with 2 E's. This is Big Daddy Marty Allen. Thanks for listening.
African-American rappers saying N-word this and N-word that, but a Caucasian can't.
So say it.
Say what?
Say the word you want to say.
I'm not saying that I want to say it. I'm just saying that I can't.
Sure you can. Say it. Say it right now.
Show enough.